Welcome to W&L Sports Weekly. I'm Kevin Finch. This week we will visit with football coach Garrett LeRose, volleyball captain Carson Allsteadt, and women's cross-country captain Avery Schiffman. But we start with a look back at the week of athletics at W&L. The riding team opened its 2021 season with a third-place finish out of 7 teams at the Virginia Tech Invitational. The 14th-ranked field hockey team improved to 9-0 overall with a pair of conference wins, defeating Roanoke 4-0 and Bridgewater 8-0. Top-ranked men's soccer moved to 10-0-1 with a 5-1 victory over Ferrum and a 2-0 win over Hampton-Sydney. Women's soccer upped its mark to 8-2-2 with a 2-2 draw against Bridgewater and a 5-0 victory over Guilford. The swimming teams opened their seasons by hosting the ODAC Relays. Both teams came out on top of the team standings for the event. Men's golf placed 9th out of 13 teams at the Carnegie Mellon Tartan Invitational, while volleyball moved to 15-5 with a 3-0 win over Ursinus and a 3-0 loss to top-ranked Johns Hopkins. And finally, football upped its mark to 5-1 overall with a 42-13 win over the Apprentice School. Joining me now is the head coach of the football program, Garrett LeRose. Garrett, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, congratulations. Things are looking great. You're 5-1 after an opening week road loss and not having played a game in 2 years. 2 of your victories were outright blowouts. 2 were nail-biters. And last week's game started out close before becoming a blowout. What are the lessons you can take away from all those different types of victories?
Absolutely. I think when we walked away from the Christopher Newport game, we were certainly disappointed with the outcome, but what that did for us for our first game in quite some time was put us in a lot of adverse situations, and I think the team responded very well that afternoon and evening of playing hard throughout all those different moments. And I think for having 50% of your roster not having been in a college football atmosphere, give credit to CNU. That was a great environment. So it really gave us kind of our wake-up call to college football for this year's team. Then as we moved through our schedule, I think that resonated in each one of our games. And something we've preached from top to bottom, from captains through coaches, is continuing to play to our standard, which I think is easy to do in those nail-biters when you talk about going to Farmville or Ashland to play typical conference rivalry games for us against 2 top teams in the league. But then also in those blowout victories, making sure that we're being intentional about playing to our standard, not necessarily where our opponent is. I think we were able to get that accomplished this past week, but it just took a little bit longer for our guys to kind of put their foot on the gas.
You played on this very same field as recently as 2007. How does that help you relate to your current players?
I think one of the biggest takeaways for me, as well as having 50% of our staff having gone here, is the balance that we're able to kind of look at for our entire student experience. So from the on-field perspective, I don't think 2007 seems a lot further away from me right now. But overall, you look at a lot of that stays the same. Football is not a game that's drastically changed here in the last 10 to 15 years. A lot of the X's and O's remain the same. But being able to have a good feel for our student-athlete experience and understanding the ebbs and flows, as we approach our reading days and know what their midterm loads are, I think our staff really leans into not being solely focused on the on-field experience for the student-athlete, but the comprehensive experience and staying attuned to what they have going on all parts of campus.
You have a bye week this week. What do you plan to do with the break this time? Is it more about healing or preparing?
When I read this one, I definitely knew that this was a great question for us because it's a huge balance of both for us right now. As you start to work through your season, certainly you're going to have some guys who have some bumps and bruises. So this is a great opportunity to get some guys refreshed, not have to compete at that highest level on a Saturday afternoon with the adrenaline and all that going on. So we're definitely going to take advantage of that for a handful of guys on our roster. But there's also a lot of preparation that has to happen. As you're coming into the back end of a season, you don't know who the next person up is going to be in a certain situation based on an injury or a game situation. So we also have a great opportunity here over 2 weeks to get some guys up to speed. Maybe they've kind of fallen off based on the role through the first 6 weeks. And this is a great opportunity, and certainly our quarterback position is a shining example of that. Jack came into the season, a tremendous player for us, a lot of experience at the position, not a lot of depth with on-field experience, and those guys have done a great job preparing themselves. But this is 2 weeks kind of back into that training camp mindset of preparation. And we're seeing that at every position, just a handful of players for us who are really going to benefit from the preparation. And then some of those guys who have had some more reps these past 6 weeks, definitely going to benefit from the recuperation over a bye week for us.
Just throw one more at you.
Sure.
ODACs, what's it going to take to come out on top?
A week-by-week approach. I think that's very coach talk, but at the same time, I think that's all you can do in a conference that has such balance from top to bottom. You see blowouts one week, and you think that that's going to replicate into different matchups, but it doesn't, and we're certainly a league of matchups. I think you have a lot of different identities in the league, and a credit to the head coaches across the board. I think people are committed to who they are in our league, so you have to take each week intentionally. So I know even with a bye week, looking at 3 ODAC games ahead of us, we can't get ahead of ourselves. Our focus is entirely on Bridgewater and then moving from opponent to opponent. So I think that's going to be critical, knowing right now people can talk about what the different records are. There's a couple undefeated teams. There's a couple one-loss teams. I think everyone's got to take it week by week and understand you can only control what's ahead of you, and what we have the most control over is Bridgewater as we move forward.
Okay. Well, Garrett, thanks for being with us.
I appreciate you having me.
Great. Here with me now is Carson Allsteadt, a senior volleyball player from New Canaan, Connecticut. Carson, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Glad you're here. You had a win and a loss on the road last weekend, defeating Ursinus and losing to Johns Hopkins. How does that prepare you for entering ODAC competition soon, including against Randolph-Macon?
I think last weekend was really great practice for us, just practicing maintaining our system of play, no matter who the opponent is. No matter whether we're playing the #1 team in the D3 in the nation or a team that has notoriously been less successful, it's really important for us to just play the way that we train, especially moving into upcoming games in the ODAC. We're just really focusing on sticking to our systems, because that's going to provide us the best opportunity to win.
So how does having Macon at home help you and your teammates?
We are really excited to be playing Macon at home this season. First of all, playing at home is always great because you don't have to travel. We have this new beautiful facility that we are so grateful to be in this season. And overall, I just think that being able to play a game in the same area that we practice will really help us be in the mindset of just playing the way we train, which is always giving 100% effort, communicating a lot, and also just sticking to our style of play. And I think additionally, having our own fans in the gym will really provide us with a lot of energy. So we're really looking forward to this game.
Great. Your senior year also appears to be your best year on the team. Why do you think your stats are up this season? What's changed for you?
Honestly, I think that COVID sort of gave me a new mindset in terms of sports. I think it sort of was a wake-up call in that I thought I maybe only had 1 or 2 seasons left, and it just really motivated me to get better in my last few years here. So I think now I really come to practice with this mindset and intent to get better every day and help my teammates get better as well. But I think the biggest thing has also been that I just have amazing teammates, and volleyball is a sport where you have 3 contacts, and as a hitter I am almost always the last contact before the ball goes over to the other side. So my teammates really have to do their job before I can do mine, and I have some very talented teammates who have been doing a great job this season, and I think the teamwork together has really helped me be successful.
Sounds good. Carson, good luck with the ODAC, and thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now joining me is Avery Schiffman, a senior cross-country runner from New Vernon, New Jersey. Welcome, Avery.
Thank you so much for having me.
Glad to have you here. On an individual level, you were on a roll as a sophomore, winning all ODAC and all region, and then came COVID, and you and your team didn't even get to compete last year. So how do you explain how you and your team have been able to make up for lost time and again be the ODAC favorite this season?
Yeah, so 2019 was a great time. Making history for the first time for the program was really an amazing feeling. 2020 a little less so. So we've had to work pretty hard to get back to that level and have that energy back in our system. Last year, although we didn't get to compete, we were able to continue to train with each other, which was really helpful during that tough time. It's also been hard because half of our team, the freshmen and sophomores, both haven't even experienced an ODAC championship, which is hard to. We've had to work to instill that energy and that confidence in them that we had in 2019. Additionally, ever since our summer training program started in June, we've been working towards our goals that are to win regionals and make it to nationals again. So I think step by step and focusing on the little things and preseason this year, since we hadn't had it in 2 years, is really helpful just to instill those beliefs again in our team and in each other, and just, yeah, work on the little things and the daily objectives in order to get back to nationals this year.
That ODAC championship you talked about is coming up on April 30th, but before that, how do you think Gettysburg and the Upstate Invitational will prepare you?
Yeah, so those two meets are really crucial tune-ups for our postseason success. We're really strategic about who goes to each one and which meets we want to go to in order to be successful when it matters in the championship season, which is regionals and nationals in November. So those two meets will really help us just prepare for our success post-ODACs and just build the confidence that we need to go into ODACs. It'll also give everyone a chance to compete individually in the best conditions possible and give all of us an opportunity to prove ourselves to everyone else in the conference.
So for those of us who are not competitive collegiate runners, really welcome some inside information.
Yeah.
So from the runner's perspective, how much does the course matter? The ODACs are going to be on the same course where the ODAC preview was at the beginning of the month. How do you use that? Is it an advantage or not?
Yeah, so it's definitely an advantage. Maybe not the course as much, but like the mindset and preparation around the course. So we've been doing a series of mental imagery sessions about the ODAC course since we've all already raced it in a 4K back in September and then a 6K at the ODAC preview, which was a couple weekends ago. And just our mental preparation around being prepared for any conditions that the course may have on the ODAC championship day. It's definitely not the course that is an advantage or not. It's more about our mindset. So the course itself is pretty flat, but it's not as fast. So just being prepared for whatever may come our way, any obstacles, having that mental imagery sessions have really been a step in the right directions to prepare us for the most success on that day.
That's great. Well, good luck with all of those upcoming meets.
Thank you.
And thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's time now for a look at the upcoming week. This evening, volleyball travels to Guilford, while field hockey hosts Lynchburg. On Thursday, field hockey is in action again at Meredith. Saturday has a number of contests scheduled, including the riding competition at the Hollins Invitational, and volleyball playing host to both Hollins and Virginia Wesleyan. Men's and women's swimming hosts Mary Washington, and men's soccer travels to Eastern Mennonite. Women's soccer heads to Virginia Wesleyan, while men's cross country competes at the Rowan Interregional Border Battle. And finally, women's cross country competes in the Upstate Invitational and the Gettysburg Invitational. For W&L Sports Weekly, I'm Kevin Finch. Thanks for watching.